Hello, everyone. Welcome. Today is September 21st, 2022. It is Hump Day. I am Solid Blue Sister, and this is my turn to talk. And as usual, I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. And it is a wonderful day here in sunny Southern California. We do not have all the heat. It feels really, really nice. Hey, lover boy, welcome, welcome. I hope you're having a wonderful day. And anyone joining us on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, thank you, welcome, welcome. Just diagnosed my blower motor broke. Is that blower motor, lover boy, for your yard? Is that what you're referring to? Doing some yard work? Oh, AC in the car. Well, that sucks. Okay, I am going to stop it here. Okay, give me a moment here. I need to turn my phone off so I don't get interrupted. Okay. All right, so today we are going to talk about pride and self-respect. Are they the same thing? What do you guys think? Would you rather have pride or self-respect? Now, pride is defined as a high regard to one's self-worth. So I will put this, hold on for a second. Let me put this in the chat. Okay, so pride is defined as a high regard for one's self-worth. Okay, so self-respect is a feeling that one is behaving with honor and dignity, or pride and confidence in oneself. So they're a little different, but still the same. So would you rather have hey Dee, and welcome Jester, welcome Mama Bear Tracy. Would you guys want to have pride or self-respect? Now, me personally, I would rather have self-respect. I much rather go through my life respecting myself, respecting the things that I've done, things I've said, things, just the person that I am, as opposed to having pride. So, hey, Juju, welcome. So, those are the questions for today. Let's see. So, do you guys think that pride and confidence are they the same thing? And I want to know, do you think pride and ego are the same thing? So, do you think that if someone is prideful, they also have an ego? And I also think that, and if you guys want to push back on me, please do. I also think that everyone has a bit of an ego. Welcome, Woody. I think everyone has a bit of an ego. I think we all we all have that in us, somewhere, somehow. I think some of us may have it more than others, but I think we all have it. Okay, so Loverboy says that they seem similar. Okay, Loverboy says he has an ego issue. Push back on Solid. Hey, Jester. Hey, I can take it as long as y'all can, let me push right back. So Lover boy, when you say you have an ego problem, can I ask what? Hey, Shorty, it has been a minute. Welcome back. My toxic masculinity never takes a break. Wow. Okay, so I can take that a couple of ways. Toxic masculinity. Um, so are you very prideful? Oh, so Jester, do you have a problem with toxic masculinity? I had to go there, Jester. You pushed on me. I had to go there. I had to go there. So let's see, for certain things, yes, especially family values. Okay, I'm a little okay, and work ethic. Okay, so how does okay toxic? Because you're using the word toxic. So are we talking about your ego when it comes to family values and your work ethic, or are you talking about toxic masculinity when it comes to your family values and work ethic? Because if it's the masculinity part, I'm a little confused of how that can, uh, I guess, coincide with family values and work ethic, unless I'm totally missing something, which I totally am. So, and then the other thing I want to know is self worth and self esteem. Are those the same thing? So, if you have self worth, does it automatically mean you have self esteem? Let's see. I'm sorry, you guys are saying hello to each other. Okay, so Mama Bear says no. So, Mama Bear, what's the difference between self worth and self esteem according to you? I'm just waiting for her to type here. And hold on one second. Let me check something. Okay. Okay. So, hold on. Where is that? Okay. So, um, they say, and I'm looking at the internet here. So I'm saying the internet says the key difference between ego and pride is that ego is a sense of self importance, which can lead to arrogance. So, do you believe that? And let me hold on here. I'm going to copy and paste this here so you guys can have it. And I'll read the whole thing again. All right. So, okay. So, the key difference between ego and pride is that ego is a sense of self importance, which can lead to arrogance, whereas pride, oh, excuse me, whereas pride is a sense of satisfaction. So, if I ask you, would you rather have pride or self respect? Am I asking you, would you rather have satisfaction or self respect? Because I totally disagree. I totally disagree with this. I don't think pride is a sense of satisfaction. Um, uh, Unless you say, well, you have pride in completing a task, or you have pride in you have pride in your family. But if you look at it in terms of ego, and if some people think that pride and ego are the same thing, then I disagree with where pride is a sense of satisfaction. Okay, D says self worth and esteem, I believe, are the same. Mama Bear says, okay, I don't know. Um, I don't think I have either right now. Oh, I agree with that. Okay. That's Loverboy for sure. Okay. Hey, Brina. Hey, I'm sorry I missed you. Pop in. Welcome, welcome. Thank you, Loverboy. I feel another sneeze coming on. Uh, Everybody says bless you. Oh, thank you. Let's see. Self-respect. I'd rather have self-respect than pride. Okay. So let me ask this. For people with children, do you teach your children? I mean, would you be more apt to teach your children pride or self-respect? But again, I think there are two definitions of pride. I think there's pride that goes along the ego route, and I think there's pride in taking pride in what you in the things that you do. You know, if you run a race, even if you come in last, take pride in the fact that you finished. Um, so would you be more apt to teach your children pride or self-respect? Because me, I would rather teach self-respect. Okay, self-respect. Everyone says well, not everyone. Self-respect. Okay, is there a particular reason why you guys are saying self-respect as opposed to pride? And do you think pride is something that you learn? And again, I'm going down the road of um, you did a good job, with something. If you had to, do a book report for school, that's the pride that I'm referring to. Do you think that that's something that you learn? Because as you learn, self respect, I guess self pride comes along the way. So can I change it up and say self pride as opposed to just pride? Okay, Shorty says, for me, the reason why I teach my kids self respect and pride because I don't want them to think they're better than someone else. You know what, Shorty, you're absolutely right. But at the same time, I think that you should also teach your children that no one is better than them, that we're all as good as each other. Like no one's better than you. You aren't better than someone else. You know, so the people who grow up thinking that they are better than someone else, do you think that's ego? Do you think that that's being overly prideful? I mean, what word would you assign that? Okay, and Mama Bear. Okay, Lover Boy says no. Okay, then they become assholes. Okay, all right. So, Mama Bear, I'm going to ask this: do you think being an asshole is something that you learn, or do you think some people are just born an asshole? I mean, do you think that's possible? Do you think that that's in someone's DNA to be an asshole? Brina, hey Brina, I had to go there. You're supposed to want it to be the best at what you do. Yes, Juju's laughing. That's my nickname, asshole. Lover boy, I don't think I would ever say that about myself. Don't I mean, sorry, I was dealing with one born that way. Okay, people make us assholes. Okay, okay, so little boy, you're saying people can make you an asshole. So can people make you have a huge ego? I mean, how do people make you an asshole? Okay, Mama Bear says, in case of who I know, you take a lot of pride in being an asshole. Wow. Wow. Okay. I guess. So what do you guys think? Do you agree with Loverboy that um people can make you an asshole? Okay, definition of asshole. Well, the first one, as we all know, a person's anus, and then the other definition of asshole is a stupid, irritating, or contemptible person. So, are you all of that, lover boy? And are people who are assholes people with big egos? And D says being an asshole is learned behavior. Okay, Loverboy says I was raised in a mechanic shop full of assholes. It happens. Okay, D says people cannot make you an asshole. I Loverboy, I'm sorry, but I have to agree with D. And you definitely have a giant ego. Wow. Well, at least you're, hey, at least you're calling yourself out. So at least you are doing that. I find it interesting though that you say that people can make you an asshole. So do you think that people determine whether or not you have respect or self worth or self esteem? Because that I do think. I think if you go through constantly calling someone a loser, whatever, I think that they may start to believe it and start behaving that way or start thinking of themselves that way. But at the same time, I also think that if you tell someone, give them positive reinforcement, they will they will behave in a way with confidence. So would you say that the majority of people that you meet fit into they are either prideful for whatever reason, or there's someone who has a lot of self respect? And I asked that because I was having a conversation with a friend of mine about 2 weeks ago, and we were talking about this, and we were talking about a particular person in the news. No one in politics, so it wasn't anything like that. But we were talking about whether or not this person was very prideful, or if they even had any self respect. And the reason why I'm not saying this person's name is because the person who I was talking to knows this person, so I'm not going to call the person out. But sometimes the person would behave as if they have a lot of pride, as in pride, not I did it, it was a job well done. It was more of a pride, I'm an asshole type person. But then at the same time, they would flip and they would behave as though, well, it's not pride, it's self-respect. So can those two things get mixed up? Can a person think that that they have all this pride, but is really self-respect, or vice versa? Can you get those things mixed up? Can you have a lot of self-respect, but have a huge ego? Because I personally think that if you have self-respect, it's more on the positive side as opposed to the negative. Okay, Mama Bear says yes, you can get them mixed up. So what would you say if I'm trying to form this word this correctly so it doesn't come out sounding ridiculous. So Mama Bear, if you could get them mixed up, and I'm saying Mama Bear only because you made the comment, but this is for everyone. If you can get pride and self-respect mixed up, um, what do you say to your kids so that they don't get those two mixed up? And again, I'm not talking about the pride where you're doing a good job. I'm talking about the pride where you think you're the shit, or I guess that would say ego. Do you want to stop your child from having an ego? um if they're the star football player, whatever, and everyone's constantly, telling your child how great he or she is, um and they start to get a big head. Do you let their head swell just a little bit, or do you like try to clamp it down before it starts just to swell at all? Welcome, the only crazy lady. I mean, is a little ego good for kids? Or if you let it get out of control, they, I guess turn out to be an asshole. So, what do you all think? Lover boy, that's what I'm asking. Are pride and ego the same? And I'm trying not to talk in circles, but we have all these adjectives that are different but kind of mean the same. Crazy lady says no swelling. You know, I don't think I can deal with a child uh, who had a big head. I couldn't. So I mean, but what? Okay, self pride is self confidence gone bad. Interesting, D. Okay, pride is self confidence gone bad. So what do you do to correct it? What do you do to correct it in yourself? And what's wrong with having self confidence? Are you saying that self confidence is not a good thing? Or is it a good thing? So again, we have all these adjectives, that are floating around, but in the end, are they all the same thing? Okay, so self confidence is a good thing. Okay, so going back to my question with children, um, do you think letting your child or children have an ego is a good thing? Do you think that it's okay for, if they're constantly, getting that pat on the back, um, that it could lead into something more sinister? And I say sinister, where they become an asshole. And and I'm going to go a little bit off track here. But do you think parents know that their kids are assholes or have the potential to be assholes? And I know that if someone said that your kid was, I know you would get, I mean, I would get pissed off. But would you sit back and go, well, is my kid an asshole? I mean, do you think that parents know this? Okay, crazy lady says being proud of oneself is standing in your truth. Okay. Yes. My oldest, yes. Okay, your oldest is an asshole jester, or he has an ego, or he's self-respect. And DMAC says it's okay to get the pats on the back to help with the kid's self-confidence. Okay, but when do you take those pats on the back too far? When does it go too far? Oh, an ego in the form of an asshole. Okay. So, Jester, not to get personal, but just part of the conversation, you can answer this if you want. If I'm getting too personal, just tell me, you're getting too personal, and I'll stop. So, is this something that you saw early on, that you saw coming like years before, or something that just you woke up one day and that's what it was? Or okay, yes, you saw it coming. Okay, all right. So hold on, because someone else says okay, so D, going back to you, where you say it's okay to get pats on the back to help with the kid's self-confidence. So what if your child was a football player or a basketball player? What makes some athletes or celebrities, whatever you want to call them, politicians, people who are in the limelight, who are constantly in the limelight? What makes some people have a huge ego to where they are considered assholes? Whereas you have people who are doing the exact same thing, getting pretty much the same amount of attention, but they're able to remain humble. So does that go back to your family, or is it just how that person is? They choose not to go the big head route, and they choose to stay humble. When you hear of some people, get on a plane, and the flight attendant may ask them, what would you like to drink? And the assistant is like, oh, you'll have to talk to me. It's like, you can't answer, can I have some water? Can I have coffee? Can I have a glass of wine? You can't answer. What makes people to get to that level? Okay, only crazy lady says, place yourself above those that help you or the team is ego. Okay, D says, parents know that when kids are heading to being an asshole, you have to steer them to being humble. Okay, Loverboy says, use Jordan as an example. He was an asshole with pride and still the best player ever. Loverboy, having grown up in Chicago before I moved west, and being in Chicago during the Jordan, Pippen, Rodman days, when they were winning their championships, whatever, Michael Jordan, he is, I don't know if he is the best to ever play. I think he is definitely one of the best, but Michael Jordan was an asshole. And if you guys remember when he was accepted into the Hall of Fame or whatever it was, and he gave that speech, I was cringing. I literally had to turn the sound down because I was so embarrassed for him. And if you guys want to hear that, you can hear it on YouTube. It was one of the worst ego. Anyway, I was cringing. And that is, he is a good example. So if you ever listen to this show, yes, I am talking about you, and yes, I'm calling you out. So, and Grace Lay says, because everyone has had help. You're right. Because, you know, when Jordan was playing, yes, he is, great, player, but he would not have been able to do, he was not a one-man team. There were four other people on the court with him, and a whole bunch of people who were on the bench. So how do people get to that point? Hey, Shy Lady, welcome. Didn't see you pop in. Oh, you're so lucky. Oh, you're talking about to have seen the Bulls play at that time? Yeah, the three of them, yeah. Even though Rodman is a bad boy, he is when it comes to basketball, Rodman is right up there with one of the best. Now we're gonna get into this whole thing with sports. I think Jordan is one of the best. I think he's one of the best. I don't think he's the best ever. I think he is one of the best. Yeah, he can still gloat about it. Had work and determination. Okay, and I understand that. I understand that. They say Kobe did the same thing, that he would go in before everyone else, and he would practice. Steph Curry. I mean, all these players do the same thing. They may not play as well as others. And yes, I am a Warriors fan, and I am going to put Steph Curry up there as one of the best. But again, why do some people? You can still put in the work. You can still, practice. You can still be that celebrity who is making all these movies, and they're these great movies and stuff. But you have the ones that will stop and give an autograph, or I'm dating myself, or take a selfie and say hello to you. And then you have the ones who will just ignore you, and in some cases be very rude. And it's like, if it weren't for the fans, you wouldn't have the money that you have. If it weren't for the fans who buy your records or go see your movies, you wouldn't have that house, you wouldn't have those cars. So some people, they recognize this, and some people don't. So at what point do you think that a person goes down the ego road? At what point do you need to pull them back? And do people even care? Okay, Kobe built his whole career marrying Jordan. Okay, so you are just we're going to go back and forth with Jordan, but Kobe was still a good player. So whether or not, and I'm not even talking about a person how they play. I'm talking about the person's ego. So I don't care how great of a player Jordan is. He has an ego. He's I'll just leave it at that. But again, at what point do you not go down the ego? Oh yes, young lady. Yes, you can definitely have an ego and not be a celebrity. I was using celebrity just as an example of people who have an ego. I was just using that as a footstool. But yeah, I mean, no, there are definitely tons of people out there with ego. So again, Shy Lady. So my question is, if you have an ego, at what point do you rein it in? At what point do you not let your ego give you a big head? And people who have big egos, have they lost their self their self respect along the way. Shy Lady, you have popped up. Welcome, welcome.
Hey, thanks. I'm at the gym, but I can't talk, so I'm taking breaks.
Okay.
But if I may, I just wanted to pop in real quick and say that I think in most cases, I think there's even a scripture that haughtiness comes before a fall. I believe that's in one of the Proverbs. And I think that when people suddenly get checked, oftentimes they have to have a fall before they realize that their ego is out of whack. I don't think, most of the times people checking them like, close people in their inner circle will make a difference. I think that they have to be brought down from somewhere low, from somewhere high to somewhere low to realize, you're not all that, or you need to get yourself in check. So I definitely believe in what the scripture says that haughtiness becomes before a fall.
So if you knew your child had an ego problem, would you let them have that fall? Like if you saw that fall coming and they were like right there, that they were right in the middle of the train was gonna knock them over, would you let them have that fall because maybe they've gotten so out of hand, or would you catch them but then they don't learn? Like, would you allow them to have that fall?
I would not allow them, but I would try my best to instill in them the fruits of the spirit, self control, love, peace, joy, and all that other stuff. I would try to instill those things in them, but it's only so much that you can do before, um, if a person is not willing to heed that information, it's only so much that you can do. So sometimes people have to learn the hard way, unfortunately. Sometimes it's too late, sometimes it's not. But I have tried my best as a parent to instill in my kids things that are necessary in order for them to succeed in life, in order to be good people. I've tried that. I think they're pretty good. I think they came out pretty good, but it's not to say that they don't have faults. But sometimes you just have to like say, you know what, I've talked to you and I've talked to you, but you know, you're just gonna have to learn the hard way, especially when they're over 18. You're like, you know what, I've tried to tell you, but you're just gonna have it your way. So you're gonna have to suffer the consequences your way.
But isn't that like letting them? And when I say let them fall, I don't mean it like you're this bad parent and you're not going to do anything to help your child. But what if you have done everything that you possibly could? What if you have tried to do this? You supported them in this, you did this, but they just don't get it for whatever or they're being stubborn. No, I don't care. Blah blah blah. At that point, do you say, okay? You know for a fact that your child is doing A, and that if he doesn't stop it, B is going to be really, really bad, and it may hurt them. I don't mean necessarily hurt them physically, but it'll hurt them. It'll hurt them mentally. It's like you said, that wake up call at that point. And I'm only talking about your child. Do
Hmm.
you let your child then? Okay, like you said, you have to learn the hard way.
Well, I won't say this. I'll give you an example of a true story. Um, I told my son, my oldest son, that there's a cop that's always hiding a certain area where we live. My son likes to speed. Not like he's a good driver. I think since he's been driving, he's probably had maybe two tickets, but this being his second ticket. And he was going 10 miles over the speed limit. So it was like a 45 mile per hour zone. He was going like about 55. And I told him, there's always a cop there. Be careful. He's always pulling people over. I was literally on the phone with him. He had me on speaker when I told him because he was on his way somewhere. And he laughed and said, "Oh, you know that cop that you was telling me about? I saw him. There's three people pulled over. I saw him." And then right after I said that, he called me maybe about 20 minutes later. He pulled him over. And I told him, And he called me and told me, he said, you know what? I saw that cop, but I didn't think he could catch me because he had two other people pulled over. And he wound up having to pay a $200 ticket. And he told me, he said, you know what? It's not worth it. It's like giving money away. I said, I told you. And I've told him that wasn't my first time telling him. I've told him before that don't always be in a hurry, slow down, leave early. You don't want to get caught speeding. It's not fun just to give away a couple $100 for nothing. So not only is it a safety measure for you, but it's a safety measure for others, and it's money you keep in your pocket. So that's a true story.
Okay. All right.
But he had to learn the hard way. I told him many times before, but I don't think he's going to ever do it again.
Okay. All right. So, let's see. D says, no, I would try to direct them to humbleness, show them some examples. All them tickets add up. He will learn. I learned the hard way getting a few racing tickets. You know, guys, as long as I've been driving, I have been driving for a very, 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 very long time. I have never had a ticket. I've never, I've never had a ticket. And the one time that um, I was in an accident, thank goodness I had my cameras in my car, or whatever. You know, it was not my fault, you know, but I've never had a ticket. So um, let's see. Lesson learned, Juju says. Have you ever been speeding? Yes, yes, yes. D, I have. I have. You know, but I've never ever I've never ever had a ticket. Um, and see, now I don't want to be jinxed. Okay, racing cars is pride and ego wrapped in one. Okay, so Charlotte, if you're still there, do you think that your son's ego got in the way of the whole "the cop's not going to catch me" thing? If you're still there, okay. She said she was at the gym. So, all right. So okay, so let's take speeding. Do you speed because you have an ego? I mean, do some people speed consistently because they think that they won't get caught? And it's not just the ticket thing. You also have to think about the safety thing too. You don't want to hit someone and okay, so Shiley says yes, his ego was in the way. Okay, but you also don't want to speed, and you also don't want to end up having an accident or you end up hitting someone, because that's of course is a lot worse than a speeding ticket. All right, so I want to switch back over, guys, to self respect, self worth, and self esteem. What are the differences? Do you think that there are differences, or do you think that they are the same? And if you could teach your child one, okay. Shiley says he laughed at the others pulled over. Well, like you said, lesson learned. So
Can I say something
yeah.
about the question that was posed for the show today? Since no one was talking, I thought I'd jump in real quick. Um, I want to say that there is, if I'm if I may remember from the actual definition, self-respect is different from pride because pride is almost like an ego. It's like you you think that I'm above this. Self-respect is something like more like to me, I believe definition wise, is more of a value situation. You're
You're,
not going to. I'm sorry.
no, you're talking about self respect is more of a value.
Yeah, self-respect is more of a value kind of thing, and pride is more bordering on the ego side. I believe it's more bordering on the ego side.
Okay, I just put definition, and this is from Google, y'all. So this is where I'm getting this. I just put self-respect in the chat, the definition, and then this is the definition of pride. Hold on. So we have, once again, pride being a feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's own achievements, the achievements of those with whom one is closely associated, or from qualities or possessions that are widely admired. Um, and then self respect was pride and confidence in oneself, a feeling that one is behaving with honor and dignity. Okay, but I still say, and I can be wrong, I still say that you have the pride that yes, you're taking pride in your work, but you can also be prideful. Um, that can lead to an ego. So would you all say that that's true? Or would you
I
say
definitely
that?
agree with you. I agree with you on that because I believe that the Bible talks about pride not being a good thing. So because you can say, "Oh, I did this, I did that," like you were saying earlier. Michael Jordan is one of the greatest players that ever played professional basketball, but he didn't win those trophies by himself. So it could be a prideful thing if you believing that you were that person. If it wasn't for you, that's a prideful thing because it takes five people to play that game. So that could be prideful. So I'm
Okay.
agreeing with you on that.
And prideful is that was the last definition I put in having an excessively high opinion of oneself. So I guess I should have said um, is prideful or being prideful and self respect are the same, but there is a difference between pride and being prideful. So, so Charlotte, since you're up here, I'm going to ask you about Jordan, since you're also from Chi Town. I'm pretty sure you remember those games. So, welcome Landry and welcome Power Girl. So, do you remember when Jordan started to go down that ego route?
I remember when he first came to Chicago. By the way, I'm not just like a bandwagon. For some people, who might think, "Oh, you're in Chicago, you started watching Bulls." No, I was watching the Bulls when I was a little girl. My father used to take me to the game when there was like nobody there. There was artist Gil,
I
for
remember
real,
those. I remember those.
artist Gilmore, Bob Love. Yes, I'm old. We used to go to the games when it was at the Chicago Stadium. That's how much of a fan I am of Chicago Bulls and basketball. So anyway, say all of that to say that I remember when he first came to Chicago. I remember when he was drafted. It was a big deal when he was drafted for the people in Chicago. Because if you were a basketball fan, you also knew about his college career.
Mhm.
So it was a big deal. And he was very humble. He really was. When he first came to Chicago, he was very humble. I think after the first championship, 90, probably around 92, 91, they won the first one, 92. He
Mhm.
started changing. He started being a little bit more
Cocky.
from the interviews, standoffish or whatever. He talked trash, but everybody talked trash back in the day. They all did. That was kind of a thing that they did when they played. But one thing I can say about him, for the most part, I watched a lot of his games. I never ever remember him like pounding his chest and going, like look at me, I did this. He never ever was that kind of a player. Only time I saw him have a real super emotion when they beat Cleveland in the playoffs. That was the only time I saw him. He pumped his fist like three times. That's the most I've seen. But most of the time, he would just talk trash to the player. And when he made a basket or whatever, he didn't do a whole lot of showcasing like like a lot of the players now. They just like pumping their chest and like, yeah. He wasn't that kind of a player. So in that sense, he didn't really have an ego because he would say when somebody asked him a question about his oh, how could you do that? It's so phenomenal. He would be like, I practice it. I'm not surprised.
You
I
know,
practice these moves.
but okay, but at the same time, okay, Leopard Boy says, I would say after beating the Pistons, he knew he was ready to take over the league. I agree with you to a certain point because I think that he may not have done all that on the court, but I think he did all that off the court. I think when he was off the court, again, that ego, like we're talking, and I'm not talking about, you do it because, yeah, I practice, and yeah, I did this, and I came in, 5 hours before the rest of my team, and I've been practicing, 20 hours straight. I'm not talking about that. You can still be a great player. You can still, practice and do all of that, but you don't have to turn into an asshole. And he may not have necessarily behaved like that on the court, but he behaved like that off off the court. You know,
I'll
which
tell you something. I'm
which
gonna tell
which
you something. I'm sorry. I
no, no,
apologize.
no, I was just going to say which I think is even worse. So go on.
I was gonna say this. You know that building you and I worked in
Yep,
back in the day?
yep.
Well, when I was dating my husband, he used to meet me after work in that restaurant that was downstairs.
Hmm.
You know, everybody was going there.
Hmm.
And one day, he was meeting me. He came a little bit early before I got off my shift. And lo and behold, who was there? Michael Jordan. He actually talked to him and had a conversation with him. This was around 1989, and
Well, they
he was
hadn't won.
cool.
They hadn't won any
They had
championships,
one.
and
Exactly.
they were still bad players
Yes,
back then.
yes. He was in that place. Of course, he was very approachable. But you know, nowadays, players who've never won anything are very, very unapproachable. Very. I know that for a fact because my family and I went to Vegas for the preseason game where they have all these rookies and stuff. And we were literally right at the door. We saw Larry Bird, and I mean, literally like within 3 feet. He was cool, but it was some of the other players who were like nothing. Who my sons tried to get autographs, and they just like ignored them or waved them away. And these were players that were rookies,
But you know what though?
rookies.
But you know what though? I mean, I can't. I can't say that about everyone because living in entertainment. Well, I don't live in the entertainment town anymore, but having worked in the industry, and I worked with a lot of people. They're the ones who are super superstars, and they're some of the most humble people. But and there are some who is like, well, I have a job and you don't, and they're the ones that have the attitudes. But at the same time, I mean, and but you can flip it around. So I wouldn't say that every rookie is like that. I don't think every player is like that. I don't think every celebrity is like that. I don't think every Joe Blow walking down the street is like that. But for whatever reason, people are prideful, and they have that ego, and at some point being humble in whatever you do for whatever reason, that has just gone out the window. So I don't know if it's just the times that we live in, but um
I would. I'm not.
no, go on, go on.
I agree. Not all of them. Not all of them are like that. I agree that. But I'm just saying that the few that were there at this thing in Vegas. So Clay Thompson was one of the guys that were there, and he's already something special. He was so nice to my kids. He was really, really nice. He was so friendly and signing things, taking pictures. On the other hand, there were some rookies who had just gotten drafted that were very unfriendly. It was about two or three of them, very, very unfriendly. Wouldn't take any pictures, ignored them,
But you
and
okay, but you cannot take two or three people and say that all rookies are like that.
no, no, no. Only reason why I brought that up is because what I was trying to say is that you'd be surprised at the people who have the least that are celebrities, the ones who are not superstars, are a lot of those people I'm talking about are the ones who had the most attitude. They were the most prideful. Yet they had not even won championships. Clay Thompson had won, I believe, two or three championships at this time, and he was one of the most humble ones.
But you know what
comparing
though?
him.
But you also have, but sometimes you also have it where some people, if you're a part of a particular team or whatever, you think that you have to have that swag or that ego or act that particular way. No, I totally understand what you're saying, but I just think that it is hit or miss. Um, Even with us regular folks, some of us can, be very prideful and have the ego, and some of us, are just like, hey, what's up? So welcome, RJ. So, but I totally understand what you're saying. Um, okay, let's see. I'm gonna wrap this up pretty soon. Lover boy, let me just read these comments. No bad boys, Pistons, put them in check. Okay, no bad boys, Pistons to put them in check. Clay and Steph are very humble. Draymond is a different story. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Um, so yeah, so again, when you're, teaching your children, welcome back, Shorty. So when you're teaching your children, and they start to go down that ego road, you know, at what point do you pull them back? At what point do you say, hey, I'm not putting up with that crap. I don't care if you are, 25, 35, 40, whatever. I'm still your mama, I'm still your daddy, whatever. You're going to listen, or that friend that you grew up with, it's like, hey, why are you acting like this? Just what makes them, is it the, you know, for some people, is it the attention? And I'm not just talking about people who are in the limelight. I'm just talking about your regular Joe Blow, the person who you work next to at Amazon, who has this ego, and this big head. At what point, are you like, hey, dude, come on, why are you like this? And you look around, it's like, why are they like this? They have no reason to be. Is it that these people want attention? What is it? D says, Lover Boy, both Clay and Steph's fathers played in the NBA. They were schools that they needed to make the league better. Well, not only that, D, I don't know them personally. I've never met them, but from what I understand, both of them had, you know, fathers who both play in the NBA, and both of them who also, taught them to be humble, not necessarily making the league better, but also humble. So, all right. So, Shiley, if you're still here, do you want to say anything else before I end it?
Sorry, I have my phone in my pocket.
That's okay.
I just want to say, great show and great topic. I always love participating, and once again, great show.
Well, thank you, Shiley, and thank you for popping up on the panel. And everyone, again, I am, my goal is to keep my shows to an hour, not go the 2 hour route. And I'm very proud of myself. The last 2 weeks, I have been keeping it under an hour. So, everyone, thank you very, very much. And I, I'm I have not said the name of it yet because I am going through this editing phase right now, and I hate editing. I do not like editing. That's one thing I do not like doing. But I do have a new show. It is not going to be on Podbean. It is a pre-recorded show. I did my first episode this past Sunday with a guest, and I was very tickled. I just totally enjoyed having. No, this person is not from Podbean or anything, but when I do finally get this episode up, I hate editing. I will let you guys know. But Um, I'm, podcasting for me, I am having a ball. I am having a blast. I know some of my topics can, push people, push people's buttons, but for this particular show, as some of you all know, a lot of you all know, I like to talk about things that other people don't like to talk about. I've never been one of those people who, I'm gonna whisper behind your back and then, and then not say it. I've always been that person who says it. I was the kid in school who always raised the hand with the teacher. Hey, well, what about this? Or, whatever. I've always been that type of person because if we don't talk about things, then things never get resolved. But that's just my own, uh, that's just my own thought process. I've never been one to put my head in the sand. But anyway, again, my show does not work without you. I appreciate you guys that show up. Um, uh, I again, I'm having a ball. I'm having a blast, and you guys are part of that. Sometimes I go back and I listen to some of my shows, and some of them just make me just crack up laughing. So again, I know I'm repeating myself, but thank you guys so much. I really appreciate the support, and I say that truly from my heart. So, not to get all gushy or anything. With that note, enjoy the rest of your day or evening wherever you are in the world. And Dee says we wouldn't come back if there was no quality. Thank you. From day one, when I came onto Podbean, I knew what type of show I wanted to have. I knew what type of show that I didn't want to have. And some people say that I'm that I'm strict, and I don't mean to be, but I can't have a show where people are talking over each other. I've been on shows like that, and it's like how do you get your point across? Are people even listening to what the other person's saying? So I want people to be able to push back on me. I want people to be able to call me out, as people have, whatever. But at the same time, I want to be able to push back, and possibly call you out, whatever. Because I want to have a discussion. I want to have, I want to talk to people. I don't want to talk at people. So again, having said that, thank you all for coming. Enjoy the rest of the day or evening wherever you are in the world. And as I always say, go where the wind takes you. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. I hope to see you tomorrow. Bye. So, Crazy Ladies, Jester, Brina, D, Mama Bear, Tracy, Frankie, Shy Lady, thank you for popping up. Lover Boy, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Minnesota, Power Girl, Juju, Shorty, Woody, Zonic, you just popped in, but welcome. Thank you, everyone who, and I know I'm missing someone, and I do apologize. Crazy Lady, everyone, thank you. And Mama Bear, was that you who was on Friendly Differences in chat last week? Was that you? And on that, guys, again, enjoy the rest of your day.